Another, as we talked about the body scan, yoga, mindful movement. We teach both a lying down, hatha yoga, and also some standing stretches, which people use as an introduction to sitting. As many people say that yoga was originally a preparation for meditation, and so we deliberately use what we call a stretch and breath CD, where people do 10 minutes or quarter an hour of standing stretches before they come and make the transition to sitting. And so those are the three major movement practices: the standing stretches, the lying down hatha yoga, and the mindful movement.
And how do you support patients who may have been through, had pain management issues, or their experience of themselves and their bodies has been predominantly negative? How do they respond by starting to play with their body from a position of curiosity?
Well, we don't introduce the yoga until week 3, and people have had 2 weeks of practice with the body scan, so that to some extent, quite a lot of these judgments about the body may have already surfaced and be dealt with in the class or by the instructor, and as seen as grist for the mill. So when people come up with judgments about their body or how they feel about the body, the instructor will inquire, what did you notice? What went through your mind? What happened next? How did you react? So if you felt disgust, for example, what happened next? Often in mindfulness training, the action is in the reaction. So we might feel disgust for our bodies, but then we don't notice that very next moment we actually have a sense of not wanting to feel disgust. So the whole anatomy of that situation is not just the disgust that people feel for their body, but disgust plus not wanting plus aversion to the disgust. And so it begins to not be as simple as just an emotion or a feeling coming up, but a feeling that is then compounded by a lot of reactivity to that feeling. So even in the first 2 weeks, there will have been some description about that. And most people find that when they get to the yoga, interestingly, that they find it easier than the body scan for some people, because they say, now I can really feel something in my body. Uh-huh. I can now feel when I'm stretching some tension here, some ache there, some pulling here. And in the body scan, I didn't feel anything in my toes or my thighs or on my back. Now I can really feel something. And the instructions are, first of all, to let the wisdom of your own body decide what is possible for you right now. That just because you could stretch yesterday doesn't mean you can stretch today. And notice what thoughts come up about that. If you have some difficulty moving your hand or your leg, is there any comparison with how you used to be, or how you'd like to be, or how you feel you ought to be? Is there any comparison with other people who seem to have more elegant bodies that can stretch in different ways? And again, this is all grist for the mill. The question is, can you stretch without striving? And that's quite a hard ask, because most of the time we try to push beyond our limits. And here's an opportunity to really notice where those limits are and really honor our own limits of our body. So that's the sort of spirit in which we invite people to engage in these practices.